I'm Izzy. We're making a movie in my hometown next year, and I have to do rewrites. Really, really intense rewrites. Just a little context. This is a movie about, one of the guys, somebody made a really good bond line. When their parents suddenly die, 5 children move back to their childhood home and for the first time become a true family. That's the idea of the movie. I usually say blended family because I think it's important, but whatever. I've been writing this. I think I had sticky notes on my window, which is usually my beginning step of writing, is kind of putting things out. I think since November, maybe December, of last year, maybe almost a year now, of like coming up with everything. It was really probably the hardest thing I've ever written. I do think it's going to be the best thing I've ever written. I don't think it is yet, and that is a weird thing to like sit with. Like, I love it so much, and there's been problems in the last couple rounds of notes. You know, it's been like we've talked about it, but then we've kind of, me and the director, then we've kind of talked away the things that don't make sense, because it's like stylistically, or we've been doing it enough that it's fine doing it enough. We've made a short film, and then we made a TikTok musical. We've been doing it enough. This is my 5th feature. I've also written like podcast radio shows. I've written a couple pilots. I'm writing a book right now. So I've written a bit. I don't think I've ever had this level of notes though, where they are like, I'm gonna have to radically change things this late in the game. We're filming in another year, so it's not like there's a rush. There's this, so it's kind of a rush. The colors are each of the siblings and kind of where their arcs are, because I think that that's a thing that's been kind of missed. Mainly the main character. There's conversation about if she's the main character, which she is. But she's really quiet. I think it's hard to have a quiet person be your main character. I met this guy on a film set in Menominee, which is wild that I was there, and he offered to read. He really wanted to read the script, read notes, which is very nice. And then he gave some of the best notes I've ever received in my entire life. It was funny because if you do receive notes, like, it's really important to lick your wounds first, or like to take care of yourself and be like, this isn't my identity, and everybody gets to have their own opinion and whatever. But it was actually like, they were such good notes. I got over myself so quickly, which I have a big ego, so that was kind of intense. I think 5 characters is a lot, and so the notes feel really overwhelming, especially because they're all first act notes basically. First half of the movie I think is going to change a lot. The second half is probably going to stay on the same. The second half is great, and we've all known that. And the third act specifically, people say they like fly through. I think in the back of my mind, I kept thinking about the fact that people were finding it hard to read, which is never feedback I've gotten before. And I kind of pride myself in that what I write is fun to read. Like, it's a good read. This one, the first half kind of isn't. It's been hard to nail down why. And we've talked about stakes, and we've been like, oh, it's just like a feely, vibey movie. No. They need better stakes. There's 5 siblings. They all move into their parents' house. Really 4, then the 5th one comes later. We have to make it really clear that they have to move in. Like, they have nowhere else to go. The main character right now, she like secretly wants to move in, but she feels like she can't tell anyone because she's not like other girls. I think she has to be the only one who really doesn't want to move in, especially because her whole thing is that she ran away a lot as a kid and that she's always running away and no one knows who she is. We have to kind of come up with better, really strong, clear reasons why people are moving in. So like, Margot is getting a divorce. That's a pretty decent stake. Troy is in a ton of debt. This is the thing too, is that between like, we're buying the house and it's really expensive, like, I've been really vague. A lot of the notes have been like, they need to be really specific numbers so you get scared, because we all get scared by money. The hard thing for me is if Cody, the main character, doesn't want to move in. I don't know why she would, other than having this secret desire to want to move in. But I think if Phoenix was there, he would convince them. Her, I don't know, it's tricky. This is the thing, it feels really intimidating. Last night I was going through and like marking all these really important sections, because I do think sometimes they're not specific enough. I tried to be really vague so it wasn't like we were like preaching, but then I think it's a little too vague and you get a little confused. I think that we could be a little bit more specific about Margot's getting a divorce. Troy is in a ton of debt. Len got evicted. I think I need to watch Knives Out again because they had a really interesting, like, the way they're all handling with the death and trying to figure out where all the money goes. Maybe they can't read the will till Phoenix gets there because he's in the war, which they don't know. I think a lot of the notes also are like reasons why things happen. There's a party at the end of the movie, which is really because I wanted to throw a party, which the note is, it feels like you just wanted to throw a party, which I did. And that's the hard thing about writing, is that you can do that. You can be like, yeah, I'm gonna throw a party right now. Okay. Well, the really good note that was given was they have to, because the 5 of them can't afford the house, and so they start moving in all their friends. It becomes this really big frat house. What if they still need to move in more people? And so instead, they do like an open house. So they invite people like, bring your friends for an open house to see the thing. But the main character, or the oldest brother, Troy, he was known in high school like to be this party freak, and he's not anymore because he's really trying to hide that part of himself. So everybody's like, oh, Troy Hall is throwing a party, which is not what's happening, but like Troy Hall is throwing a party. So then it becomes kind of like the end of Mean Girls, but like it becomes this really big party, even though that's not what they were trying to do. Like, that's a really good idea and very good stakes. There's just so much to change, and when like you've been with something for 126 pages for probably 6 months. I think I've been writing drafts. This is probably like, I think the 4th or 5th like solid draft change. I just did notes beginning of September. It's now mid-October. These notes were done mid-September, and then we're waiting back on notes. This could be better. Like, a ton of it can be punched up. I hate saying that word actually, sorry. The really interesting thing is that every time someone reads it, they're like, it's a good movie. It just can be a great movie, which is really nice. And it's nice to be, I don't know, taken seriously. I remember sending my first feature. I was 17 or 18, and I wrote this feature about being salutatorian and about the American school system and whatever, and I sent it to like 20 people, and everybody sent notes, and I didn't change a thing. And now, what is that, 4 years later, and I've written 5 features. Like, I would have killed to write something as complex as this, and genuinely, I've always gotten really good notes on characters, which is never a thing I'm trying to do. Like, I never sit through and I never do like the character sheets of like, what's Margot's favorite flavor of ice cream? I don't know that. I don't know that about most of my friends. Like, that's not the things that matter in my opinion. And when you're making a movie, like, you're gonna hand off the characters to people. So instead, I'm always like, what are themes of the story and how are we gonna get there? And that's the major thing that I've been doing with the sticky notes, is like, Cody really feels that no one gets her. Well, she basically is like, we all hate each other, why are we family? And that's why she wants to run away all the time, and she really has to learn to stay, that no one is gonna fully understand you, and but like, we love you, and that's the difference. Really, everybody wants to be seen and to be known and to be like deeply understood. But now we're really living in this time where it's all like, everybody's kind of an Instagram bio. It's like, oh, what's this person like? And instead of like personality, it's like ideology. All of them kind of are learning to reconciling who they thought each other were growing up versus the people they are now. I think the people we build in our brains are very dangerous versus the people of real life. Cody always felt like they all assumed the worst of her, and they're not nice to her, and it totally makes sense. But she doesn't try. That's the main thing about Cody. Cody has to learn that she has to give effort in order to keep relationships. Like, she keeps running away the moment that it gets really difficult.